Here's something I talked about after he won the Trophy Dash. I think it was last week. We talked about it. I said, now listen, I'm watching this car and how you have it set up. It doesn't look a whole lot different in the setup than that old Camaro used to run when you won all those championships and dominated with. And, I said, how close is it to the Camaro? He looks at me and smiles, and he goes, yeah, it's pretty close to the Camaro. And he goes, make it a little better over the next couple of weeks. I'm going, man, this car gets any better. You're going to have these guys a little upset with you.
I mean, a 2-second margin of victory, essentially. A 1.915.
Right.
That's, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. 2 seconds in racing is a lot of time.
And we're going to make it better.
Right.
Oh, this is going to be fun to watch.
Well, and that's the thing. Let's see what he can do because, we know how good David Kronk is in the street stock.
He's been racing forever.
Yeah, we've watched him win. I can't count how many features that guy has won.
Oh.
And Brian Kronk. There's some talent in the Kronk family.
The whole Kronk clan.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Sean. David, Brian. They're just coming out and just cleaning house.
They're very good. All of them very talented. That's a racing family from aunts and uncles and cousins. And, now the girlfriend, Michaela, Sean's girlfriend's behind the wheel.
She's getting into it.
Yeah, the whole clan just.
Jerry Ann and Lance are there at the track every week.
Every week.
Every weekend.
So Kronk gets the win over Koryak. I don't know if you saw Facebook or saw the right rear tire that was on Koryak's car after the feature, but
I didn't.
It was. You want to talk about treadbare? It was tread. It was the tread. It was past the rubber. It was just the threads of the tire
down to the cords.
Absolutely.
Oh.
The cords were. I don't know how that.
So he was literally just standing on the right rear and running around the track.
I don't know how that tire finished. One of the worst abused tires I've ever seen. And we know how good Corey is with tire prep.
Corey does tire prep for half the guys out there.
Right. You're probably not going to find anybody at that track. There's a couple of drivers that are in his league when it comes to tire prep, but I'd put him at the top, if not the best.
That guy's middle name, I swear, is Hoosier.
Yeah.
He knows those tires. He knows
does.
rubber, and for him to have cords showing, that surprises me. It really does.
Right.
But
the funny thing was that post was made by his dad. It says Corey's right rear tire, and it was the next day. He can tell he'd been cleaning the car up. And Corey's comment was, "Is that my tire?" I was like, "Wow." I really don't know how that thing was holding air. It was just yellow cords all the way across.
But second place, I think he can afford to buy a new tire now.
I think so. I think he will. Yeah, and that's one thing I like about this class too. Tires are affordable.
Absolutely.
$25. You don't have to go out and spend a whole bunch of money to race in this class.
That's true.
And then JJ Irvine with a strong third place finish.
That's one guy I wish I'd see every week. That guy can wheel.
He really can.
I love watching JJ race, just the way he sits there, hooks that car up, and gets out of the corner.
When he's so smooth.
Oh, he is.
You watch JJ, and his cars they're always clean. They're always set up right and smooth. The only thing I've noticed is it just seems like when he does get beat, it seems like a horsepower deal. Hooking up horsepower. You got to have enough horsepower, but you can't have too much on these slicks. And JJ's got a good package under him, but it just seems like sometimes when he gets beat, it's just he doesn't quite come out like everybody else.
But then again, look at we start talking the horsepower game. Let's change divisions. Look at the late models. Joey Tanner went out there with the crate.
Completely
he
opposite.
Went out there with the crate.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the pants off everybody. Next week, Rob Maya comes out
with an open motor.
Right. Beats the pants off everybody. Horsepower does play into it a little bit, but
a little bit.
It's
I think more so on those slicks than on the.
I do too, but you can the nice thing about those slicks, the street stocks versus the mods, you can sit there and prep those slicks. You can groove them, you can sipe them, you can do what you need to do to them, grind them and everything else. Mods, we can't touch it.
Yeah, you guys can't touch them.
We can't touch them. All we can do is sipe it, grind it, and change your pressure.
Right.
So it's. Yeah.
So fourth place in the street stock, man. DW Northey had a good run. The white and blue 55 car.
Really?
A good strong fourth place, and right behind him, rounding out the top five, was April Sign.
Okay, I just have to ask now. How far back was Chris?
Okay. Chris Sign finished 9th.
So he got beat by his wife.
By 4 positions.
And have you ever seen what's on the back of her car?
Yeah. You're losing to a girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Chris followed that all the way home.
I bet he had a. I'm sure she put a little salt in that one.
Oh yeah, love you, buddy, but
yeah, absolutely.
I just gotta say it, Chris.
You know what? I'll tell you, April Sign. Have you ever watched her drive? I mean, this is a talented lady. She is a race car driver. She comes, she's stock of the great Mark Howard. I mean, one of the best to ever run Willamette Speedway, the 85, the 86 track championship. He won both those titles. 24 wins combined in those 2 years as the champion at Willamette. 11 one year, 13 the other. Championships on dirt and asphalt in the same season. Hams I-5 Challenge champion. I mean, Mark Howard did so much for racing. I mean, he truly is a legend in our region.
He is.
That's where she comes from. So she has known nothing but racing her entire life, and it's no surprise. It's no surprise given the genetics that she comes from.
She was very fortunate in that department.
Very. And this is something else that was impressive, was a 6th place finish turned in by Dakota Goddard, first-year driver out of Corvallis, young guy. Definitely his best finish of the year. Looked good. He's holding a good, clean wheel. He's being smooth. He's adapting to what's going on there. He's not so tense. You can see it in the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely developing to a decent driver. Justin Evans, 7th. Randy Jackson, Chris Sine, Mikey Breakall, Mackenzie Lockhart, Tanner Barron, Lauren Cruzy, Jody Tanner, 14th.
Oh, boy.
Bad night for Jody. And we know Jody has been nothing less than spectacular all season long. I mean, he's probably been the guy up to this point.
Absolutely.
In this class.
And, to watch Jody, he races 2 classes a night typically. He'll run it in the street stocks, then he'll take that old 36 out.
Yep.
Top her off with fuel, come back on for the sportsman.
He's on the track a lot.
I mean,
I tell you, his arms are in good shape.
That guy probably turns the most laps out of everybody out there.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. I mean, week in and week out, he is on the track more than anybody else at Willamette Speedway. There's no doubt about that. He is, you see the 36 pull off, and you see it pull right back on.
Yep, you do.
And he's having fun. That's if you get a chance to get down and talk with Jody, he's just having fun.
Oh, yeah.
He's racing for all the right reasons. Now that gap might be a little bigger than what we anticipated. With Mikey finishing 10th and Jody finishing 14th. I mean, that's 8 points right there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 8 points from 4th to 10th, and just in the finishing, and then you got to figure in where they started and who
passing
passed to,
points
right.
and everything else. I mean, it's like I said, there's another division that's going to come down to that third weekend in December. In September.
It will. Absolutely. I don't have an updated point sheet yet. It hasn't been released by the track. I'm sure they're busy with everything that's going on.
Well, after the weekend we had, I'm sure there's more important things.
Absolutely,
on their mind.
Absolutely, and we will talk more about that. From there, we moved into the the sportsman class. What do you say? Let's just rename this class.
The Yak Attack.
Let's just name it. Yeah. I mean, it has been Tom Yak all season long. He's won everything, with the exception of one feature. I mean, this guy has got his program figured out. The car is just, I don't know if he's changed anything. It's working that good. Fast qualifier.
Let me guess. Hang on. Tom Yak?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah. By a little over half second.
That's a smaller margin than I was thinking was going to happen.
Well, and listen to this. And here's a driver that's been coming on. This guy's been coming on. Second fast qualifier. Only 2 cars in the 17-second bracket. Ryan Emery in the 97.
Really?
Yeah. Ryan's been coming on. I mean, this is it's been kind of fun watching him from the first time he got in the car and couldn't make it turn to now he's second fast qualifier. He's in the dash with Tom Yak, Casey Rhodes, and Chad Slover was the dash, or was the fast 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We had 12 cars sign in, and a lot of people pulling double duty in this one. We had Chris Sine, April Sine, Dakota Goddard, and Jody Tanner. All those guys pulling double duty from street stock to sportsman. So, and it's fun. It's fun to watch. But again, it was a tough night for Jody. He was 12th fast just didn't get a very good qualifying lap at all. Something went wrong, and I think he got one attempt, and it was a bad lap spun. But Tom Yak, fast qualifier, heat race 1 was Clyde Rude, Hackney Racing. He got the win. Chris Sine, Jeff Rash, April Sine, and Dakota Goddard. That's a pretty tough field.
It really is.
Clyde won by 2.3 seconds.
What?
Yeah, over Chris. Yeah, Chris was, it was just one of those deals where Clyde got to the front and just put it down.
And you start talking, about track changes, going back to what we were talking about earlier. look at Jody Tanner's comparison in the laps between the street stocks and the sportsmen's.
Mm-hmm.
You're still talking track changes, and with him pulling double duty, there's not time to adjust much on those cars to account for that.
Right. Now this particular heat race too, we saw 2 true sportsmen with the Hackney entries of Clyde Rood and Jeff Rash versus 3 street stocks that, are very fast street stocks.
Yes, they are.
The Sign team, Chris and April, and then Dakota, who's, he's coming up.
But he's bringing it on.
He is. He's definitely learned a lot in the first, 11 races in now, something like that?
Something like that. And he's working with Team Amco out of Corvallis, so, they've got the
modifieds,
the Hornets. They can sit there and they pull all those notes together. They do.
Oh, yeah.
And, Mac McJunkin, he's no slouch. He's going to sit there, pull all those notes together, and away they go.
Mm-hmm. They're talking.
There's a lot of note-taking in there.
Yeah, there is, yeah. Heat race 2 for the sportsmen. Winner was Glenn Hackney.
Really?
Oh, man, Glenn. I'll tell you what. This is a guy that's got – you want to talk about some laps around Willamette Speedway.
Yeah.
I think he has – I don't want to say any more than, but probably right there the same number of laps as Bruce Hipple. Bruce Hipple's been out there since – I think he started racing at Willamette like 2 seasons before it actually opened. He's been there forever. He's just been there forever. But Glenn, another guy that's got over 40 years experience at Willamette Speedway.
Absolutely.
Countless laps. You can't count that high.
Those 2 boys were probably pulling cookies in the farm field that was Willamette Speedway 2 days later.
Right.
Yep. They've been around it forever.
0.3 of a second over Tom Yak. Tom finished second. Chad Slover third. Ryan Emery, Casey Rhodes, and Eric Lindquist. Lindquist is another guy that's has really been getting his program pretty tightened up, that 333 car.
And I think at this part of the season, you start to see that.
Right. We're just past the halfway point. Now all the bugs are worked out, and guys are really figuring out their cars. And the second half of the season is always something I like to watch.
Absolutely.
Because that's where points start changing quite a bit.
That's where you sit there and you go, okay, are we traveling this weekend, or are we going home?
Right. Do we give up these points? Or and there's some decision with the races that are in the second half of the season.
Well, when we get to the modifieds, we'll talk about that too. This was a big weekend for the modifieds.
It really was. Feature went to.
Let me guess.
Yep, Tom Yak.
Oh.
Chad Slover second, the 25 car. Now let me tell you, this race between Yak and Slover, this wasn't a gimme.
No, it wasn't. I got to catch part of this race.
This was not a gimme for
this was
for
one
Tom.
That Tom worked for, and Chad Slover, he really put up a fight there.
Well, Chad had a lead for a long time.
He really did.
And he had a significant lead. Tom broke out of traffic, started reeling him in, lap after lap, started getting closer. And I was thinking, man, if this thing goes all the way to the end without a yellow, Tom might not have enough time because Slover was pretty fast.
Yeah, he was. I thought Chad checked out. I thought Slover was gone.
At one point I did too.
Until
I saw that yellow flag.
Here comes that yellow.
Yeah, the old yellow flag. And that tightened everything up and gave Tom, what he needed to set him up and get by. But he, even then, still had to work to get by Slover. And I don't know how Chad Slover drives that car. The way that car is set up and the way it's almost like it's on a teeter-totter from the left front to the right rear. That it carries the left front down the backstretch and down it's so soft in the right rear. And the race car looks like it's upset, but it works for him.
Exactly. And that's the thing too, is when you start talking about a car looking upset, it happens. But if the car matches the driver's style of driving,
exactly,
it's a rocket ship.
He's comfortable in that car, and honestly, I don't know how. I certainly wouldn't be with the setup like that under me, but
I couldn't. I couldn't stand looking at the sky, at the flagpole in the center going down the front stretch.
Right. He definitely likes to drive that car off the right rear.
I do not know how he sees out of that car.
He does. And
it's
fast.
insane.
It's a fast car.
It's fun to watch.
Even Tom gave a big kudos to Chad, saying, man, that car was fast. We earned that one tonight. That was definitely a fun race.
Yeah.
He liked it. So. And it's always fun when you got someone to race with instead of just checking out. And Tom's kind of been pretty dominant in this field.
He has.
Yeah. Casey Rhodes, strong third for the 55. Veteran driver, likes those trucks. He's been getting pretty quick lately, that 55 truck.
And we know there's some speed in that 55 truck.
Yes, we do. We know how fast that, given the history of that vehicle, we know how fast that truck is. And
that truck, that brings back memories.
Yeah. And Casey, he's another driver that's got some talent.
He's no slouch.
He's not. He's going to give you everything he's got, and he's pretty dang good behind the wheel.
Yep.
Glenn Hackney around in the 4th spot, and then a Hackney car in the 5th spot with Clyde Rude. Now, Eric Lindquist was 6th, Chris Sine, Jody Tanner, April Sine,